Hello, hello. There we go. Good morning and welcome to Friday, the 10th of April. Yay! All right, guys, guess what? Mars is back at home in Aries. Yay! You can probably feel the energy influx coming back into your life. Maybe. Depends. What is your Mars doing? All right, hang on, let's have a look. So Mars moved into Aries at 5:36 a.m. this morning. And so we still have this Capricorn moon. All right, so there's a job to be done, there's plans to be made, there's terms and conditions to be upheld, there's things to be done. But now, rather than being, well, Mars in Aries, yes, but Mars is still approaching Neptune, like I was saying yesterday. So there still might be a couple of days of, not quite sure. But there is the whole Neptune in Aries. What are we willing to fight for? What beliefs are worth our aggression, or the force behind it? Now, today, I ended up changing my words because I could not make sense of what I wrote the other day. But I'll say it anyway because it might make sense to someone. So, and just like that, it started. That is the title for today. So I think and I think it might take a minute for our beliefs and thoughts to catch up with the action that is happening. But is there still enough compassion in the air? Oh, sorry, there is still enough compassion in the air to mitigate any force. All right, so I was like, oh my God, that sounds like all out freaking war. But I then sort of amended it to action may have a little bit more force behind it from this point forward. However, we must remember to still have compassion and grounded logic when approaching situations. There may still be some confusion in the air for a couple of days, but keeping with the think twice, speak once attitude will help greatly. And someone said it the other day, we have two ears and one mouth. So we need to listen twice as much as what we do speak. And I think that is also relevant at this point as well. So yeah, like I was saying. So Mercury, blah, 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 blah. Mercury is at 23 degrees of Pisces, so it is out of shadow and starting fresh new ground. Like I said, we now have Mars at 0, Neptune at 2, Saturn at 6. All right, so those three are still in a conjunction with each other. Now, in the coming days, I think on the 17th, actually on the 17th, we've got a massive day. That's when we have Mercury conjunct Neptune, the Sun conjunct Chiron, and of course that new moon at 27 degrees. But on the 20th, we have Mercury, Mars, and Saturn all at 7 degrees of Aries. So just think of the conversation and force of will behind that type of day. All right. So, and I know it's only the 10th, but this is still only 1 week. All right. 1 week to the new moon in Aries, which is awesome. It is like the another beginning of the cycle. Maybe in the week preceding this, get your cardboard, get your magazines and glue and scissors, and start thinking about your new moon wish list, or your, the one vision board that you put up a year. All right. So the 17th, being that new moon, is a perfect day for the Aries moon vision board. All right. So you've got a week. And then again, I just want you to sort of keep in mind the fact that, with this Aries, this amount of Aries energy, there's going to be frustration and tension and attitude. Oh my God, the attitude. This is like the authority and the youth butting heads together with Mercury in there as well, going, yeah, well, fuck you do. So, there's just a lot in the air. Like I'm gonna need a rule. I need a ruler to uncover my board. I've covered it up. What is this? So 13 Mars conjunct Neptune, 15 Mercury enters Aries. All right. So again, lots and lots of force in the air right now. Let me click the button and see who's here. Hey Helen, how are you? Yes. Oh, good. Good. Things seem to be moving better. Awesome. Good morning, Sam, my awesome sisters. Oh my God, Christy, my class. So when I come up on the 24th of May, I was thinking about doing like an evening class because I'm leaving on the Saturday. So if we can get together, and then anybody wants to catch up for an evening class in maybe 25th, 26th, 27th of May, something like that, something to think about, ladies. So yes, Christy. Good morning, Louise. Hello, Susan. Good morning, Steph. How are you? Good morning, Karen. How are you? All right, so let's quickly have a look at the moon and then I'll do some cards today. Um, not these ones today. I need this book. All right, so the moon. All right. Now, after 11, again, there is tension and force around today, so think twice, listen twice, speak once, very much. All right, so after 11, there is a square to Chiron starting. All right, so the moon in Capricorn, who wants to just get it all done properly. Something just went past my window. Making sure that all the tradition and rules are upheld, whereas that square to Chiron is like, I feel like it's more of a, well, time has proven that not all these great traditions are good for everybody. That's just sort of what I'm sort of feeling coming through. So you might feel like after that 11 a.m., there might be a little bit of a sensitivity starting. All right, so just be aware of that one. Now 3 p.m., we have the last quarter square. All right, so this is where the moon is square the sun in its approach to the new moon. So again, where does maybe an emotion, this could be an emotional trigger, this could be an emotional tradition or pattern that is coming up against this fresh, new, vibrant, youthful energy that just wants to rush ahead and do things. Yet there's a whole lot of, but it's not done that way. So maybe we could use this last week um, to think about, again, where tradition has fallen flat and this new energy that is coming with the new moon can help us out again, potentially. Um, right, so that's after 11 square to Chiron, 3 p.m. square to the sun. Now, after 5 o'clock, there is a trine to Uranus starting, and I like this because it's a trine, all right, there's an easy flow. We're very aware that there is some instability in the air. So these things that we've always held stable, all right, so comfort, security, finances, values, ethics, self-worth, these things that are stable in our life, or we want to be stable in our life. We're aware of the instability. So in saying that, maybe we can plan accordingly, moon in Capricorn, to make this ease of transition, Uranus in Taurus, a lot easier. Now, remembering Uranus is moving into Gemini for the last time, or in 84 years, on the 26th. All right, so these are the last ditch breaths of Uranus trying to show us where our vulnerabilities are when it comes to these things that are supposed to be our stability. All right, so there's that. So again, adjustments can be made. There's an easy flow. That's after 5 o'clock. So we've got this, this square to Chiron at 11, which then ends up in a square to the sun and the moon. All right, so there's definitely some hurt and tension around. But then at that 5 o'clock mark, maybe we can look at the things that aren't sitting right and try to find some way of giving them some prop. I know that's not the right word, but you know what I mean. So how can we prop up these things? All right, now at 10 p.m. there is a sextile to Mercury. All right, so ultimately, I think the day culminates in some conversation that may get us somewhere. Although Mercury is still in Pisces, but I think if we just pay attention to what we're doing and really like watch our cognitive function today, all right? Because Mercury in Pisces, everything else in Aries. All right. So there's that. Now this was the yesterday I said that statement that I got in my head when I was doing this. Again, I don't know what I was thinking, but I've probably been looking at the news because it was very warmongery. But when the generals know their daughters are in danger, they will act differently. All right, so here it is again for you today with the rest of the planets being Sun conjunct Chiron, Mercury conjunct Mars, Venus sextile Jupiter, that's nice. There's the compassion and wisdom in the air, all right? So just remember that. Venus is in Taurus and she is looking around very logically and sensibly, all right? She's got sensible shoes on. She's got the right clothes for the environment. She's got her snacks, all right? So Venus is absolutely allowing us to have some good thoughtful energy and stability around how we feel, right? Venus, how we give and receive love, right, to ourselves included. But she will fight for her homelands, all right? But then that Jupiter in Cancer, the fact that they're in a sextile just allows us to put things into a better perspective. It's not all force, anger, and words. It can be grounded logic, compassion, empathy, wisdom, pattern recognition. This too shall pass. I said that yesterday to someone who was having a little bit of a hard time. This too shall pass. And it just sounds like weak accolades, but and I don't even know if that's the right word. But anyway, it just sounded weak in the moment. But I was like, look, ultimately, this will pass. This situation will pass. It cannot stay the same. All right, and I just got even Chernobyl is changing. I don't know why, but there we go. Okay, so there's that Venus sextile Jupiter. Right, here's the tricky one. Mars is now conjunct Saturn, or it has been, all right? But Mars is now in Aries conjunct Saturn and Neptune and sextile Pluto. All right, so Mars is now in this very volatile position, all right? But what's he going to do with the wisdom that he has developed during his time of Mars in Pisces? All right, there was so much inner strength and resolve utilized or understood in that space that now that he's stepped back into his home sign and there's all of these fuming people in front of him, is that Neptune aspect of spirituality, connection, is that going to ease some of the force? Is Saturn's wisdom and knowledge as a general strategist going to somehow affect the way that Mars and Saturn connect? Like, is Saturn going to be the one that says, I'm not going to react to you? I hope this is making sense to you. And then, of course, Saturn in conjunct South Node. Saturn feels like at that point that he's willing to use his knowledge of past battles to maybe let go of something that he can see that it isn't going to work. Okay, so maybe not battles in your life, but if you are working hard and consistently towards something, then you might get to a point where there's just no point in continuing to put as much effort as I am into this specific thing. What is that South Node in Virgo thing for you? All right, is it like that flogging a dead horse type thing where you want it to work, but it's not going to? So maybe this Saturn and responsibility can come to terms with whatever it is he needs to let go of potentially. All right, so a lot of potentialities in today, but there is just like April is the trickiest month of the year. Now Mars is in Aries, we are heading towards more force. All right, so what are you going to do with it? All right, let me draw a card. Oh, I got that one out instead. All right, I'm going to go with the Mythic Tarot today. All right. Actually, they just told me to click the button first. Good morning, Deborah. How are you? I will be in Sydney. So I'm coming up on the 24th and I'm leaving on the 30th. So I'll be in the Penrith area again. So yeah, I just thought maybe, all of us could get together and have a catch up. That would be awesome. I definitely know I'm going to be catching up with Deborah and Sam and Helen. So I would love to catch up with anybody that is available during that time. So right, now I will concentrate. What is the perfect card? Oh, and they're saying scenario as well. Oh, this one. Two of Wands. Oh, there's Chiron. There we go. There's Chiron in the background going, hey, don't forget me. All right, you've done this before. You can now walk ahead. Even that looks like Mars, eh? Mars walking forth with his shining new vibrant light. But Chiron saying, don't forget your lessons. All right, so what's it say in the book? Two of Wands. Alright, two of wands. Oh, two of wands. Okay. Alright, so this two of wands portrays the young Jason. Is this Jason of the Argonauts? Maybe? Yeah, Jason does not know yet about the golden fleece. Because Chiron... Oh, blah, blah. Okay, this is about polarization and adventure. I'm just going to go to the words because it's way too wordy. Sorry. All right. So the Two of Wands heralds the formation of a new aim, idea, goal, or creative project. The new idea may not be the final shape of the future, but it is full of potential and sufficient to lure the individual. Sorry. Sufficient to lure the individual out of his or her present confines into a new creative venture. Everything here depends on the courage of the individual to take up the new idea with both hands and to put faith in that the invisible creative power which has generated the vision of the new path. I hope that made sense because it did not in my brain. Anyway, it is the formulation of a new idea. All right, so and like I was saying, what I saw from here is this is one of those. Mars is now on the path. All right, he's now on the path. He has been to his spiritual advisor, who has warned him or made him aware of what patterns could still be in play. But he is brave and young and courageous, and he is going to take his torches and go anyway. All right. So whether this is, I'm sorry, I don't know if you can see it in the background there, but Chiron is like, yeah, bud. I love that. All right, so yeah, regardless of what wounds have held you back in the past, this is a time when we, with Venus's help, we can forgive and forget. We can have compassion for who we see as our opposition. We can talk about the tension and that Chiron wound because you don't want to replay the same mistakes of the past. There's things like that. How does this feel to you guys? Like, is that making any sense specifically for you? All right, amazing. We would absolutely catch up, Christy. That's a given. Of course, we're going to catch up. So yeah, so that's pretty much me for the day, guys. Going back to those words, which I have to find again. There might be a little bit more force behind your action from this point forward, but remembering that Mercury is still in Pisces. All right, so to think two ears, think twice before we speak once. All right, we listen twice, we speak once. So compassion with Venus in Taurus, grounded logic when approaching situations with the moon in Capricorn. And if there is still some confusion, you'll be right because you're thinking twice. So there's that. And as far as the times go again, Deborah, I can hear you. After 11, all right, a square to Chiron starts. So we need to watch for our sensitivities, all right? Then at 3 p.m., moon square sun. Maybe some sort of tension where authority is concerned, especially if you just want to forge ahead. Then after 5 o'clock, there is a easy flow with changes in security and our situation. We could just be like, oh my God, I've got my self-worth back. All right. It could be self-worth, but it could also be a positive financial situation. And then, of course, at 10 p.m., there is a positive sextile between the moon in Capricorn and Mercury in Pisces. So maybe the plans that you make, you go to bed feeling good about. Here we go. So I hope this gives you some nice energy for the day, and I am around all day today. I will be doing my class at 9:30 today. Nice to be home. And I will not be doing a live tomorrow, but you will get the words. So with that, I will see you in person on Monday, unless you want to have a catch up today, and I am home. So, mwah, I will see you guys soon. Bye.